It's time for some chores.
So I thought this was interesting, or this would be interesting. I bought this refrigerator here for about $150, and I was told that other than one certain thing, which I will talk about in a minute, that it worked pretty well, and it does. There's some stuff left behind here from tape that I'm gonna have to wash off, but it's kind of in good condition on the exterior otherwise. Inside there's some weird cuts here and here for some reason. I don't know what happened there, but otherwise it still works fine. So the biggest issue when I got this refrigerator was that when you hooked it up to water, it would just leak all inside of here. And the guy that sold it to me, he said, he thought, this is what he thought happened. And I'm inclined to believe him based on what I found. And everything kind of works here. Even the ice maker works. It makes ice. It's running. So he thought at some point that the refrigerator wasn't warming up enough on the refrigerator side, so he turned it way down, and then after the fact it started leaking. So what he said is something probably froze and broke on the refrigerator side, and I'm inclined to believe him, because what I found was that this filter up here, well, the one that was there, when I pulled on it, it just kind of came apart, and so the entire filter was in 3 pieces, and I actually had to take this entire housing off and take everything apart inside there to get the final piece out and replace that. Once I did that, it stopped leaking in there. However, it started leaking down here when I used the water. And so what I found was, in addition to that, that there was, if you've seen kind of these refrigerators and how they work, there's this little pipe down here, and it kind of goes then up into the door and up into there. And it's got this little coupler here on it that you can't just pull off if you just pull on it. And so it looks like there was damage on either, on the tubing on either side of the coupler. So I had to, so I took it apart, and actually taking this apart is very easy. This is a basic push to connect coupler. If you yank on it and just pull on it, it's not going to go anywhere, but if you just push up on this little ring here, it comes right off. So if you ever actually need to take the door off of a fridge to get it out of a house, these are actually really easy to get off if you know the trick. And all you have to do is push down on these little rings here at the end, and they will slip right off. If you hold it down and pull on it, it slips right off. So I had to take this thing off, and it had also come unattached up here at some point. So when I did push the water, not only did it leak down there around the coupling, it also just poured water out through in this area, just randomly through the housing here. So I tried to cut the damaged part off of this piece here and that piece down there, but then it was too short. I couldn't get it up to do what I wanted it to do. So I bought some new ones, or a new tubing. This is usually what this is. This is, let me see here. This is polyethylene, 5/16" outer diameter, 3/16 inner diameter. And so we're going to do that. So I've already removed this to get the old one out and to see what I'm looking at. And it's actually not too hard to figure out. The you connect the hose here and you feed it up through a hole. I don't know if I can really see it. Oh, there. And you feed it up through, up until it comes up here. And I'll show you kind of how that works out, because I'm going to take this tubing, excuse me, as soon as I can untwist it. And we're going to feed it up. And toss the coupler way over here. So, all right, I'm just going to set the coupler here. I'm going to take the end of this. I'm going to feed it up through the hole here. And it's going to come up somewhere right there. So, and as you can see, it's coming up back here. And so what you have to then do is find the little place that it comes down, because all it does is it fits into a hole down here. That's a piece of tape. All right, so I'm gonna stick that and find the hole and stick it down. And as you can see, it just kind of comes down here and kind of sticks there. Now I'm gonna give it a little bit of play here. I'm gonna leave a little slack. So I need to cut. Well, this will work. Yeah. So now I'm gonna come down here and cut off some of most of this excess. So I'm just gonna take a knife and cut it. Let's see. It doesn't have to be perfect here, but let me see if I can. What have I done? Go back. I don't know if you can really see this here, but I'm going to kind of cut this off a little better, straighten it out. And I'm going to kind of finish this off a little, I'm going to try to finish this other piece off a little better. It's a little crooked, and I think I'm going to straighten it up a little bit. Man, come on. I had a better cutter out, but I don't see where I put it. There we go. Let's clean that up a little bit better. I don't know if we could see this, but all right. Now, if you do get it wrong, where did it go? Okay. Where'd the coupler go? Oh, I'm sitting on it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna do that. Stick it on there real good. Again, I'll set you down for a second, see if I can't do this. And then stick it on the other end. Stick it on the other end real good. And then kind of tuck things away. Now, I did leave it a little long just in case I need to adjust it later. I can pull a little bit more slack up into this compartment up here. Just a little bit. Make sure that I still got most of it down there. Okay, so now taking this front panel off was no big deal. It has a single screw that goes through that and into where the tray goes. And then everything else has these little tabs that go into these little slots. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick everything back in here. Pulling it out isn't that big a deal. You just got to take the screw out of where the tray goes, and then kind of wedge something in there. I actually just used one of these little brackets and I slid it under there, and popped it out. That's all you have to do to take this out. And then this water should be working just fine. I'm gonna just push it with this. All right, it's gonna take a moment. And then I got water. It's coming out of here just fine. And I don't see any leaks down there. I lied, there's a leak right there. All right, I'm gonna have to play with that. Okay. So what I'm gonna have to do is find a better way to cut that. And I'm gonna actually have to find the tool that I want to use to do that. Okay, I'm back. How you doing? And I brought like a little tripod so you can I can actually kind of point things where I'm pointing, where I'm working. Anyways, I got this guy, which is a replacement for that guy. This is a union coupling with a 5/16 inch diameter. So it should look pretty much like that. It's a little different. It's a little shorter than the other one. All right, let's take this apart. Again, it comes right off if you know the trick. And we'll take this and put it right on. All right. Push it all the way as far as you can on the one end. Push the tubing in all the way you can on the other end. And it should work. All right, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. Getting water. No leaks. Let's get you a good look here. Doesn't seem to be leaking. I don't feel anything coming out. There's nothing coming out. All right. Now that I've spilled a bunch of stuff up there, that now works. I'll shove it back here. And I now have working water dispenser and should have working ice. Have I even tested it? Yep, working ice, perfect. All right, now all I have to do is clean this thing up, get something to wash off this duct tape adhesive, which I think you should be too bad. This is all like tape adhesive. Even this stuff here, it looks like scrapes. Looks like someone scraped it. It's just, they've wrapped duct tape on it. Like it comes off, like if you really work at it. But yeah, so you might ask, well, why didn't you replace the coupling in the first place? And it's kind of a stupid, but I could have, and I thought about doing it. But I also, honestly, the tubing that I had to buy cost all of $3.45, which is nothing. And the coupler itself costs about twice that. That's just short of $7, which again, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that much more. But I didn't really want to do it. So I tried it out. I just tried to fix it without the new coupler, and it didn't work. So now I've replaced the coupler, and it works. And so I have myself a working fridge in here. All right, well, that's all. That's all. You know, I got a fridge for $150. I spent the cost of a new filter to replace the one that had busted, which I probably would have had to replace anyways. And the filter in and of itself is probably the most expensive piece of having to replace it, because those things can run anywhere from like $20 to like $60, and this was one of the higher end filters, but the higher end filters tend to last longer. And so that's that. And then I spent $3.50 for the tubing and another almost $7 for the coupler, and that ends up being, you know, a little over $10 other than the price of the filter to fix the $150 used refrigerator, which as far as I know, will last me at least a year. So, I mean, I can't complain too much unless it breaks down on me in the next month. So, which I doubt. I mean, it seems to run just fine. Yeah, that's it. Have fun. I guess one last thing. Likely the reason that both the tubing was damaged and the coupler had failed was that somebody just tried to yank that thing apart when they tried to get it through a door. And just yanked on it enough to both damage the tubing on either side of the coupling and to damage the inner workings of the coupler itself, because there's these little I think how most of these push to connect couplers work is there's these little teeth that grab onto the tubing and won't let it slide out, and if you yank on those hard enough, you can potentially not only bend the teeth that are grabbing them, but also kind of warp the seal that's behind those teeth enough that it doesn't really seal. And honestly, even the way the push to connect connections work is that you can take them off and put them on a fair amount of times, but sooner or later you have to replace them, because the more you take them apart and put them on and take them off, the more likely they are that you've damaged or warped things in a way that doesn't make a perfect seal. And that's true for those push to connect couplers. It's true for snake bite or shark bite PEX connections, push to connect connections. Any like push to connect connections will have that, I wouldn't say flaw, it's just kind of something that happens. You use them, you reuse them over and over enough, then they will work less and less effectively. I think that's true with just about everything. And, you know. So, once again, that's it. Again, have fun.